Hi everyone, today we're going to be going through the very last 2020 Senate race analysis. For now, in this particular series today, we'll be taking a look at the state of Maine. We've already filled in every single other state with separate analysis videos. If you want to check who wins in all of those, obviously you can check right now, but if you'd like to know more about my analysis on those, please check out the videos on my channel on the 2020 Senate races. So today we'll be taking a look at the state of Maine, which could perhaps be one of the most expensive races in the country. Actually, Texas should be there we go. Which could be one of the most expensive Senate races in the country. Today we're going to be taking a look at who might win the Democratic nomination to take on Susan Collins. We're going to be taking a look at some of her previous elections that she's run against Democrats. We're going to look at her approval rating. We're going to look at fundraising, and we're going to look at the 2016 elections results between Trump and Secretary Clinton. So today, as of right now, this is going to be a hard-fought battle. So, definitely going to be the hardest race Susan Collins is in her lifetimes. But first, we just need to find who's going to win each of the primaries. So, obviously, assuming Collins decides to run, which she very likely will, she'll easily win her primary. And then, as you can see, there are a lot of endorsements there. Actually, Joe Manchin endorsing Suzanne Collins. That's definitely a politically calculated move, given that he wants to appear as a centrist to help him win a Democratic primary. Who's going to likely win the Democratic primary? Right now, it's Sara Gideon, the Speaker of the Maine House of Representatives. She's the most high-profile person. It's sort of like if Nancy Pelosi decided to run for president. But again, for me, it looks like Sara Gideon is going to go on and win that Democratic primary pretty handedly. There's a few endorsements there, quite a few actually for Sara Gideon. Pete Buttigieg, Catherine Cortez Masto, Tammy Duckworth, Chris Murphy, Jamie Harrison, and a lot of state individuals there. Steve King, some high-profile endorsements there. Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, Emily's List, and Citizens United and NARAL. Betsy Sweet has received those endorsements. Hang on, but it doesn't look like she's going to go on and win that. She's received endorsements from Dale McCormick, Zach Rigglestein, Diane Russell, and Cenk Uygur, whatever his name is. But yeah, the Senate race in Maine. Here we can see. So it looks like Gideon, I don't know how to say her name, is going to go on and win that Democratic primary. In Maine 2014, you can see here, Susan Collins winning handedly, 68.5% in 2014, 61.3% in 2008, 58.4% in 2002, 49.18%, that one's actually pretty close, in 1996. And then in the 1990 election, you can see there the Democrat, I think that was his last one, and then Susan Collins decided to take over. She won, and she's been winning elections pretty solidly ever since, but now she is in the hardest election that she has been in. So if we go ahead and take a look at some of the polling data that has been conducted, right now it does show Sara Gideon with a very, very solid, it shows Susan Collins in a very solid position, but I'm not too sure about this in some previous polls. We'll go ahead and look at that. It did say it was safe Republican, but that was by an even bigger margin. I'm not sure if there actually is not anything there. Okay, so now we've done taking a look at some of the prior elections. Overall, it's shown that Susan Collins can win. She won in 2008, but I do think that the circumstances are different. She had voted for Brett Kavanaugh. that sort of diminished her standing as this, centrist who, doesn't always go along with the party, that sort of broke all of that narrative. And ever since the start of Trump's presidency, Susan Collins' approval rating has been dipping. She started off 67% approved, 27% disapprove, and this was the sort of approval ratings you'd be looking at during those elections, and that's why she was able to win. And ever since Trump took office, she's been going down, and now actually she's underwater, 48% of 48% disapproval, 45% approval. She's underwater with independents. She's massively underwater with Democrats. She's underwater with Republicans. There's a lot of voting blocs that just don't like her anymore, and that's definitely a problem for Suzanne Collins. If we take a look very quickly at the fundraising, right now, U.S. Senator Susan Collins has raised more money for her blah blah blah, but a Democratic challenger with national backing raised more than $1 million in 10 days. Republican incumbent raised $6.5 million as of June's end, surpassing any of her other ones. The 2020 race is expected to shatter Maine's political spending. Democrats have made Collins a target after her October vote to confirm U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Two well-known Democratic challengers, Maine House Speaker Sara Gideon of Freeport and lobbyist Betsy Sweet of Hallowell, are running to the nomination to face Collins. Blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff. And right now, Collins raised $2 million alone in the 2019 second quarter. We don't know the full one for Sara Gideon, but I assume we'll be able to see that now. And finally, last piece of data, 2016 presidential election race right now. Hillary Clinton did win overall, and so that's actually definitely a sign that Democrats can win there. Excuse me. And so when we take everything into account, to me, I see this election in 2020 to be the downfall of Suzanne Collins. I don't think she will win again in 2020 because of all of the national factors. We saw that a lot of the Democrats who were running in red states trying to win re-election in 2018, they tried running to the center. It didn't work. Susan Collins isn't even trying to run to the center in the first place. I don't think it's going to work. It's shown that elections are becoming much more national. It's not necessarily the state issues. Heidi Heitkamp tried to make it about the local North Dakota issues. It didn't work. It was all national. It was all her vote not to confirm Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and all of the elections are now beginning to get much more nationalized, much more partisan, and for those reasons I see it being a tilt Democratic state. I see Sara Gideon being the next U.S. Senator from the state of Maine. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching this video. 51 Republicans, 49 Democrats. That's it for this series. I hope to see you in my next video. Have a great weekend and good night.